Have you ever felt that the tighter you cling to something, the more you lose yourself? Imagine, for a moment, that true strength isn't found in enduring, in fighting, or in proving you can bear anything. Imagine true power emerging the moment you let go, the moment you allow yourself to step away from what's consuming you, draining your energy, dimming your inner light. This video isn't for everyone. It's for those on the verge of emotional collapse, for those who feel they've given too much and received too little, for anyone in desperate need of a deep life reset. But before I reveal the secret to this rebirth, I invite you to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stick around until the very end. Because what I'm about to share could redefine your perception of strength, detachment, and personal transformation forever. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists. What you embrace transforms you." At the root of many inner struggles lies the fear of loss. We cling to toxic relationships, to draining jobs, to outdated ideas, not out of love, but out of fear of emptiness. Yet, Jung also reminded us, emptiness isn't the enemy. It's the starting point for every true beginning. And here's the first turning point. Think of something you're holding on to today purely out of fear. Not out of love, not out of passion, but out of panic about change. What would happen if you allowed yourself to let it go? What if you stopped fighting for something that's already dead inside? In that act of letting go, you wouldn't lose yourself. You would find yourself again. Stepping away isn't a sign of cowardice. On the contrary, it often takes more courage to leave than to stay. In a culture that glorifies perseverance, self-sacrifice, and resistance at all costs, conscious detachment is almost a revolutionary act. Jung spoke of the process of individuation, the journey of becoming our authentic self beyond all expectations. But this process demands that at some point we look at our lives and declare, "This no longer belongs to me. This is no longer who I am." Here's the second turning point. Pause and ask yourself, how many things, roles, or people are you still holding on to because you're afraid of disappointing others? What part of your soul are you sacrificing to meet expectations? Detachment isn't rejection or indifference. It is self-love in action. Paradoxically, we're taught to measure strength by endurance. Who never gives up? Who bears the unbearable? Yet Jung offers a different perspective. True strength emerges when we recognize our limits, when we understand that every ending is also a beginning. In emptiness, the seeds of the new sprout. Here, I invite you to recall a moment in your life when you let go of something or someone, and even though it hurt, you grew because of it. This is the third turning point. Look back not with regret, but with gratitude, because every act of letting go has brought you one step closer to your true identity. At its core, stepping away isn't escape. It's a decision. It means saying yes to what truly matters and no to what diminishes you. Jung explained that invisible battles rage within our unconscious, between who we are and who we believe we should be. When we ignore this tension, we betray ourselves. But when we listen, when we give our soul space, we discover. Stepping away is sometimes the purest expression of truth. Now, I invite you to an exercise. Think of a situation that drains you today, be it a relationship, a job, a promise. For a moment, imagine you walk away. What feelings emerge? Fear? Relief? Guilt? Freedom? This emotional blend is the threshold of change. That's where the true new beginning starts. Stepping away also means breaking old patterns, those invisible loyalties that bind us to the past. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." How often do we stay in painful places simply because we believe that as how it has to be? We become loyal to the pain, to inherited suffering, to limiting beliefs. But eventually, at an inner turning point, something inside us whispers, "Enough." And that enough is the beginning of everything. Here's the final turning point. Consider the emotional inheritance you carry. From whom did you learn to stay where you're unhappy? Who taught you that stepping away is selfish? It's time to question these inner voices, for behind them lies your freedom. The power of stepping away also lies in the ability to face the void. When we leave, we don't just abandon something external. We also enter a space of inner quiet. And this silence can be frightening, because there, questions we've avoided emerge, emotions we've numbed surface, truths we haven't dared to face confront us. Yet Jung teaches us that it is precisely in these moments of darkness that we find the soul's greatest treasures. Here's another reflection exercise. When you think about stepping away, what do you fear finding in that emptiness? Loneliness? Sadness? Guilt? Look these ghosts in the face. They are part of your journey. They are the threshold guardians you must cross to be reborn. As we progress on this inner journey, another central element emerges: grief. Stepping away also means saying goodbye, and even parting from pain can hurt. But Jung reminds us, grief isn't a disease, it's a transformative process. It's the bridge between the old and the new. Here's another turning point. Allow yourself to grieve. Cry if you need to. Honor what was. Thank what you've learned. But don't get stuck there, because the danger of grief lies in turning it into a swamp. The invitation is to cross it like a river, knowing that on the other side awaits an unknown but possibility-rich land. In this transition, you rebuild yourself, rediscover yourself, restart. Carl Jung also spoke of the archetype of the traveler, that inner call to explore new territories, not just geographically, but emotionally and spiritually. To step away is, in essence, to become a traveler of your own self. It means having the courage to embark on paths that challenge, confront, and awaken us. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you had the courage to step away from what holds you captive. How would your days change? Your relationships? Your energy? You don't need to have all the answers today. You just need to take the first step. The journey begins with a decision. To say, enough. To choose yourself. To put yourself at the center. That is the most radical act of strength you can perform. And I want to remind you of something fundamental. Stepping away doesn't always mean physically disappearing. Sometimes it means setting boundaries, creating emotional distance, returning to inner balance. Jung said we are like trees. If our roots aren't firmly anchored, every wind will knock us over. So stepping away can also mean rerouting, reconnecting with what's essential, and distinguishing what belongs to you from what belongs to others. Here's another powerful exercise. Identify an area of your life where you need to set boundaries today, not to exclude, but to protect yourself. Practice saying no, allowing silence, taking a break. In this space of inner return, the soul discovers undreamt of powers. Stepping away is also a radical act of trust in life. Jung taught that the personal unconscious is connected to the collective unconscious, and that when one person changes, the field around them also changes. This means that when you have the courage to release what no longer serves you, you not only free yourself, you also send a vibration of change into your environment. People feel that. Relationships realign. Unexpected opportunities begin to appear. Here's a crucial turning point. Recall moments in your life when a difficult, perhaps painful decision opened doors you couldn't have imagined before. Life possesses a mysterious intelligence, and when you take a step toward your authenticity, it responds by clearing the path. Modern society has taught us that retreat is synonymous with defeat, that stepping away means giving up, that we must demonstrate resistance to be valuable. Yet, Jung contradicted this linear idea. For him, the human psyche works in cycles, in movements of withdrawal and expansion, of return and forward movement. Just as day needs night, the soul also needs times of retreat to flourish again. I invite you to ask yourself, In what stage of your cycle are you currently? Are you expanding, or do you need retreat, gathering, rest? Because if you ignore the call to retreat, you will eventually feel exhausted and alienated from yourself. Stepping away means ending cycles. It means honoring your inner rhythm and recognizing that you are not a machine, but a living being in constant transformation. When you step away, you also recognize who your true connections are. Jung spoke of the concept of synchronicity, of meaningful moments that appear as coincidences but are, in truth, messages from the unconscious. When you choose to prioritize yourself and create distance, observe who respects your process, who understands your need for space, who remains without demanding. These connections are worth nurturing. Here's another reflection exercise. Identify in your current life who allows you to be who you truly are, without demands, without conditions, and who, on the other hand, tries to hold you, manipulate you, or pressure you with guilt when you set your boundaries. This assessment is crucial for surrounding yourself with relationships that foster your growth, not block it. Stepping away also opens up a vast space for reconnecting with yourself. We spend so much time trapped in external noise, social media, expectations, professional demands, other people's opinions, that we forget what our own inner voice sounds like. When you allow yourself to retreat, even temporarily, you rediscover this deep inner dialogue. Jung said that the soul always speaks to us, but we rarely listen. Here's a powerful exercise. Dedicate a few quiet moments each day without distraction, without trying to achieve anything. Just listen. At first, discomfort may arise, boredom, restlessness, but over time, answers begin to appear, intuitions, truths that have long awaited recognition. And with that, we reach one of the most transformative gifts of stepping away, the rediscovery of your own life as purpose. When we're caught in unsatisfying patterns, our life's purpose blurs, becomes unclear. Stepping away allows you to ask, what am I truly here for? What meaning do my decisions hold? Am I living my life, or what others expect of me? Jung reminded us that meaning doesn't lie externally, not in achievements or imposed goals, but in deep alignment with our innermost being. Here's a challenge. Write down 3 things that make your soul light up, that bring you true joy, that make you feel alive. And ask yourself, how much space do you give these things in your daily life? Because when you reconnect with these sources of life, you begin to reshape your life in an authentic and powerful way. Stepping away doesn't mean giving up on love, friendship, or dreams. It means recognizing that true love can also give space, that genuine friendship respects silence, and that dreams need fertile ground to flourish, not depleted terrain. Jung taught, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Here's another central turning point. Consider how often you've tried to support others even when you were on the verge of collapse. How often have you put the well-being of others before your own, even as you were breaking inside? Stepping away, in this context, is an act of profound self-love, for it allows you to rebuild yourself, so you can give from a place of fullness and truth. The power of stepping away also lies in confronting the masks we wear to survive. Jung spoke of the persona, that social facade we put on to be accepted, but if we identify too much with this mask, we lose contact with our true self. Stepping away also means shedding these layers, stopping being the perfect child, the tireless employee, the self-sacrificing partner, the always available friend. Here's a powerful exercise. Identify what masks you are currently wearing. Ask yourself with brutal honesty, which of these roles exhaust me? Which no longer align with who I am? Which represent an earlier version of me? Letting go of these masks may be one of the most liberating decisions you can make, for it leads you back home to yourself, to the essence that needs no external validation to shine. We must not ignore that stepping away also activates deep wounds, the fear of abandonment, the panic of being forgotten, the agony of not being important enough for someone to call us back. Yet here, Jung offers a transformative twist. These wounds are not signs of failure. They are gateways to inner work. Every time we feel fear when stepping away, we have a unique opportunity to look at our deficiencies, to embrace our inner child that fears being left behind. Here, I invite you to something healing. When you feel fear about stepping away, don't suppress it. Embrace it with compassion. Tell yourself gently, "It's normal to be afraid, but I choose myself because I am worth it." This sentence, repeated like a mantra, has the power to change deeply ingrained patterns. Carl Jung also spoke of the archetypes within us: the sage, the warrior, the lover, the seeker, and many others. Stepping away particularly awakens the archetype of the hero, for every conscious act of detachment is a heroic journey. It is leaving the familiar, confronting inner dragons, crossing the desert of uncertainty, and finally returning home transformed. Imagine your life as an epic story. You are the hero who must cross dark forests, leave old lands behind, and follow the compass of your intuition to find the treasure. You are not fleeing, you are following the call of your soul. When you look at it this way, even moments of solitude take on new meaning. They become indispensable chapters of your personal mythology. And finally, we come to a point I cannot leave unmentioned: the expansive effect of stepping away. Jung reminded us that when a person heals, they influence 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. This means that when you decide to break a pattern, when you step away from what no longer serves you, when you say no, when you close doors to open new ones, you are not just doing it for yourself. You are doing it for your ancestors who had no choice, and for those who come after you, who will find a freer path because of your courage. Here's the last turning point of this segment. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that your decision to step away is not selfishness, but an act of expansive love that permeates generations. Feel the sacred weight of this decision. Stepping away doesn't just mean leaving a physical place, it also means letting go of thoughts, beliefs, old stories we tell ourselves again and again. Jung taught us that every person carries a personal myth within them, an inner narrative that shapes our identity. Often, this narrative contains sentences like, "I am not enough. Without this person, I am worthless. If I leave, I will lose everything." Yet, the fascinating thing is, we have the power to rewrite this myth. So, stepping away means telling a new story about who you are, what you deserve, and what life you truly want to create. Here's a transformative exercise. Write down the story you've been telling yourself repeatedly. Then, write down how you would rewrite it if you were the conscious author of your life, because you are. And every step of stepping away is a new chapter full of possibilities. When you decide to step away, something profound happens. The body remembers. Jung spoke of how our bodies store emotional imprints, even those we thought we had long forgotten. When you create distance, physical sensations often arise: a knot in the stomach, pressure in the chest, sleeplessness, unexpected tears. This doesn't mean you're failing. It means your body is beginning to release years of suppression. Here's another turning point. Don't resist these sensations. Allow yourself to feel them. Breathe deeply, move slowly, embrace your body with tenderness. Stepping away also means healing the body, not just the mind. If you consciously walk this path, your energy begins to flow more freely. Your intuition becomes clearer, and you move through life with a lightness that seemed impossible before. Another essential aspect is the realization that stepping away also connects us with humility. Jung emphasized that many of our sufferings stem from the wounded ego, from the illusion of being able to control everything. Stepping away shows us again and again, we cannot save everyone. We cannot solve everything. We are not responsible for the paths of others. This is where a deep liberation arises. By recognizing ourselves as human, limited, fallible, We lift tons of burdens from our shoulders. Here, I invite you to practice this healing sentence. I am doing my best, and that is enough. When you repeat it, something inside you realigns. Stepping away, then, is not a failure, not an escape, but a declaration of humanity, self-respect, and the realization that not everything rests on you. As you continue on this path, a beautiful phenomenon emerges, also explored by Jung: the soul's return. When we step away from what harms us, we open space for forgotten parts of ourselves. Suddenly, you remember old passions, deferred dreams, dormant talents. You begin to read, to create, to dream, to laugh in ways you thought you'd long lost. Here's another powerful exercise. Make a list of things you used to love before life overwhelmed you. Maybe it was dancing, writing, walking in nature, singing, and then commit to picking up at least one of these activities in the coming weeks. This is the true reset. Not just letting go of what burdens you, but also re-embracing what ignites your inner fire. And we cannot end this section without talking about forgiveness. Stepping away often comes with resentment, with old pain, with unresolved stories. Jung taught us, forgiveness does not mean forgetting or condoning, but integrating. Forgiveness is not a gift for the other person. It is a gift to yourself. It is the key to releasing the emotional poison you carry within, which will continue to poison you even if you've changed your location. Here is the last turning point of this stage. Write a letter to what you need to let go of. Perhaps a person, a memory, a story. You will never send it. Write with absolute honesty what you feel, what hurt you, what you learned, and then burn it, bury it, tear it up. Make it a symbolic ritual of liberation. When you do this, you will feel something extraordinary, the lightness of someone finally ready to be reborn. And now we reach the deepest point of this journey, the realization that stepping away is not an end, but a rebirth. Carl Jung reminded us, every true process of transformation involves a symbolic death, the dying of old versions of ourselves, old patterns that no longer serve us, identities that have become too narrow for our growth. When you decide to step away, you are, in truth, preparing the space for a new version of yourself. It is an invitation to look in the mirror and recognize with courage and humility, I am no longer who I was yesterday, and I don't have to remain a prisoner of my past. This is the true new beginning. Not just changing the external environment, but allowing the soul to find a new rhythm, a new meaning, a new light. If you've made it this far, you carry a rare and precious strength within you. Few people have the courage to face their own pain, to say goodbye to what they once loved, to release the heavy to embrace the liberating. I invite you to honor this path, to be grateful to yourself for everything you have already left behind, and to continue forward in the trust that the universe responds when the soul decides to blossom. If this video has touched your heart, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs this message, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to not miss any content. Together, we will continue to explore these deep paths of the soul, because you are not alone on this journey. And never forget, stepping away does not mean giving up. It means creating space for life to breathe within you again. We'll see you in the next video.